Hey everyone, welcome to another session of Tuesday Teaching Tips. Yep, it's past 10 o'clock. My kids are finally asleep and I think it's time for me to start off another session for this summer. Today's session's all about planning. So it's all about how to plan your own homeschool unit studies and themes. I tend to call them themes, but I know on the internet I've seen them also addressed as unit studies. You will see all our themes that we covered last year. So if you've been following on Instagram, I actually haven't done the last one before Ramadan, and that was rainforests. Yeah, I need to get around to doing that one. But before that we did, so we looked at space. We did a space theme unit study, and that's when I started calling them unit studies as well. And we did a healthy living one. We did something on life cycles. So I'm going to try and go in sort of a step-by-step order to make it easy for you. So the first step is choose your theme, and it can be pretty much anything you like, obviously provided it works for your children. Here's some examples. So we've got mini beasts, castles, seasons, nature, vehicles, water, whatever. And you know, I'm some of you know I'm currently now in England for the summer, but when in Saudi Arabia, it was deserts, the history of Mecca, the beach, because we had access to Jeddah, which was quite close. So things like that, whatever's relevant to wherever you are, you know. So choose your theme, step one. To make it easy for you, what I thought I'd do is, as I'm explaining, I'll go through an example. So our current theme, which we're about to start, is recycling. So as we go through the steps, I'll keep adding to this page and show you how I plan. Okay, so step 2 is, what are the objectives? So this is where you start thinking about how you're going to be tying in your literacy, your numeracy. So in terms of the objectives, you're actually thinking about knowledge-based objectives. So what aspects of recycling do you want to teach your children? But also skills-based objectives, and then also tying in writing and numbers and science. Because this session isn't really going to go into too much detail about objectives and the national curriculum, I have just written out questions that I would like us to address within this topic, and this is all knowledge-based objectives. I've added a few more objectives here to tie in the maths, the literacy and the science as well. If anyone's confused by objectives generally, and wondering about the national curriculum, maybe that's something I can address in another video. But if you have any questions, please feel free to message me. So step 3 is all about collating your resources. So thinking about books you can borrow from the library, videos you might find online, any visits or trips you can organise to, like a tidy tip or even a recycling bank or recycling centre that's local to your area. You know, anything like that would be perfect. These are the books I found. I really like the first one because it's exactly what our question is: why should I recycle rubbish? It addresses some of the things that we want to cover, and this one's also all about the recycling centre, so that will be nice when we go on our video. Of course, my other go-to place is Twinkl. I love checking out what they have for any new theme I'm about to start, because it also gives me ideas for the activities I might include. So here's one that we plan to do, which is sorting out this rubbish and sticking it. And while I was on Twinkl, I also found these fab activities. One perfect for Hiba's age, this one, recycling colour by number. She's 3 years old. And this one was perfect for Amara's age, or at least when we're trying to introduce tally. And look at this really cute book that I also downloaded and printed from Twinkl. It's for beginner readers, and it's called I Can Recycle. And it's sort of words and text that they can read themselves. It's just so cute. Look at it. Okay, back to the steps. The next step, step number 4, is think up your possible activities. Now, word of warning here, if you're going to check online, you're going to get obsessed because there's so much on Pinterest. The key is, how are you going to limit the activities that you find? Are you going to try and fit all of them into your plan? Are you going to, you know, you're going to get so overwhelmed with so many things that you might just forget what the objectives are. So that's why even when choosing your activities, wherever you are looking, always go back to your objectives and look at what it is that you're trying to help your children understand or teach. So some of my possible activities for this theme, which I forgot to mention, is just a 2-week theme. So it's quite short, so we're not doing so much, and we're trying to also do our Phase 5 phonics and other stuff as well. So we've got some recycling art, and we're getting some boxes ready with labels, which we're going to put in the house, where the girls are going to sort out the paper from the plastic to the glass. A beans tin pencil pot, and then also I'm going to pose the question to them that what can we make from rubbish, to see how they can get creative and think about junk modelling stuff that we've done before and what they can make themselves. And then, of course, if you've been following our stories on Instagram, you might have seen our mud kitchen, which has been made from all things we found in the house. Literally recycled and reused anything we found in the house. And step 5 is make your schedule. So I'd say it's a weekly plan. So like I said, this is a 2-week plan for me. So I'd have week 1 and week 2. Think about the main activities that you want to do, and see what works best for yourself and your children. Don't try and do everything you find. Yeah, it might be a really, really good idea, and you can make a note of it, and it may be something you can follow on at another point. Because personally, I think the best way is to do what's manageable, and that would really, it would help you to have a stress-free sort of homeschooling journey with your children. One of the things I want to highlight is planning for progression. This is a very teacher term. And what it really means is that you want to see your children progressing, or, slowly building on their knowledge over these 2 weeks for this. So for example, I've included hands-on experiences like visiting the tidy tip, or going to recycle bins and actually emptying out, your rubbish or your clothes or whatever it is that you want to. And that might also be a nice way to start. But what you don't want to do is on the first day of your, starting your theme, you want to say, right, kids, today we are going to be looking at recycling. Here's a little bit of information. Let's make a poster to encourage others. Now, depending on your kids' age and what knowledge they might have beforehand from other experiences with you, they might be able to do it. However, it's going to be a struggle for you to have to get them to, get excited about it, maybe because they haven't done enough. So just to give you an idea, this is our schedule, our 2-week theme on recycling. In week 1, we're looking at what is recycling, so literally introducing the topic, because they've never really looked at it at all. And then also talking about rubbish and, looking through what is rubbish and what rubbish can be recycled and what can't, so they understand the difference. And then when we start sorting out the recycling stuff, they'll know where to put it. And then the books that we took out from the library and also videos online, through those we'll also understand why we should recycle and what we can actually recycle as well, as I just mentioned earlier. In week 2, we'll start thinking about what we can make from rubbish and how we can recycle it. And then also what happens if we don't recycle. And I think that will be a really interesting session with the girls, especially as it will be about animals as well. And finally, I feel like my main objective of this whole unit is for Amara to actively and independently in some way to design her own poster. She's never really done it before, so it'll be a really nice thing for her to display in the house. Everything in these 2 weeks leads up to planning for progression, and this is what I think is really key in our homeschool when we plan. So it's not that we plan and stick to our plan. It's more planning with an end goal in mind. So you're working towards a purpose or something important. If you've got older kids, I'm sure you know this maybe from your own experiences at school, they can write persuasive letters to the local council and things like that. And that's it from me today. So if you've got any questions or any comments, please feel free to message me. I appreciate any feedback that you give. And if you are planning your own theme and want to run anything past me, please do. I'd love to see what you're doing.